What's up, party people? This is Tegan, and before we get into the show here, I wanted to take a moment to highlight some of the new changes that you can expect to see and hear from us each week. Well, as a team, we believe that one of our biggest strengths is the wide variety of games and content that each of us enjoys to consume and create. So instead of just talking about these things each week, we're incorporating more live elements into the show. So we know that a lot of you listen primarily to the audio only version of the podcast, so we didn't want to leave you behind. You can still expect to hear discussion of what we've been playing and perhaps the news that's grabbed our attention. But now that's only half the show. So the rest of the show will be more of an impromptu game session with one or more of us playing and talking to chat on Twitch, which you can find on our Twitch and YouTube channels. As we incorporate more live elements into the show, you will hear us responding to chat a little bit more. We're going to do our best to offer context to make the show the best it can be for both audio and video listeners. But the recent outpouring of support for the show, especially as we've been going through these changes, has meant so much to us, and we appreciate each and every one of you, whether this is the first time you're listening or if you've been with us for a while. So you can find all of our links on our website at partyinvite.games, and we'd love to hear your feedback. It helps us grow. So thank you for making this community great, and we hope you enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome to the Party Invite Show, where we strive to bring people a little closer together as we play, discuss, and enjoy everything video games. You can call me Tegan, and I am joined by Vilos.
It's me.
This week we've got a few things to talk about. We're gonna do our bread and butter, what we've been playing segment, and then we're gonna before that we're even gonna talk about a few things that have caught our eye in the gaming world. Just a teensy bit of news. So we can start off with that. Vilos, tell us about. Tell us. Well, you just get started because I don't even know where to start here. There's so many proper nouns.
Yeah. So on this one, as I put in the doc here, while Babylon Falls is indeed failing, which is Babylon Falls, developed by Platinum Games,
Would you
released
say it's
by
falling?
Square.
Is it?
It's officially the worst game of 2022 so far,
Oh, goodness.
by a lot of accounts. But the creator, Platinum Games, we know and love them for a lot of things, including the Bayonetta games. But their game, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, is actually booming. Like, when you can say a game from 2013 it has more players, active players, than your brand new game,
Mm-hmm.
that's it's a little sketch, a little questionable. But yeah, there has been a series of memes that's kind of gathered some steam, reminding people that Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is it's not a great game, but it's at least more fun than Babylon's Fall.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely got the same attributes in the combat as something like Nier or Bayonetta, the stuff that you know and love Platinum Games for. Um, and people have really been talking about Metal Gear a lot lately because we don't have current gen versions of them, of any of the games, and a lot of people are kind of really pushing Konami to do something because Hideo Kojima is not with them, so Metal Gear is kind of stagnant, and so people are just kind of getting nostalgic and taking off all these memes. And apparently, the concurrent players of Revengeance has gone up over 1,000% over the past week or so, which is just funny. It looks like something like 11,500 registered users are on Steam on the game. It looks like 2,000 players have been playing it over the past 24 hours,
Well,
and that's saying a lot when Babylon's Fall had multiple days in the past month that one person was documented as playing.
oh,
So
that's bad.
yeah, there's a whole story on it. Kotaku ran that story as well. It's just really funny that we actually have identified the one person that was playing it.
The
This
one
person,
person,
yeah, the
dude.
one person. I think it was something like 3 weeks ago that this one person was for sure the only person playing the game on online, and It's just such a funny story. It is technically a very sad story because Platinum Games is a fantastic developer. They might be stretched a little thin because of all the projects they're doing, but at the end of the day, it's kind of the big issue of Square in this particular case. Square Enix ruining a lot of things with their publishing hand, with just the microtransactions and stuff like that. They leaned so hard into a $60, a full price game that also relies heavily on microtransactions. It's just a perfect storm of things that gamers don't want
Yeah, that stuff's really
these
dicey. And
days.
then when you are combining East and West, Eastern and Western business practices, like business approaches, there's so much opportunity for something to break down. And that's not even including marketing mistakes, which are, you know, numerous in situations like this, where like something that may do great in an Eastern market will hit a Western market and just be a laughing stock. I mean, it'll be a joke, you know. Um, what a what a weird thing. I mean, could they have what could what could they have done? Like, what do you think they actually might have done if they did something differently? Like, realistically, what could have made this a game that didn't have one player on it?
I mean, the thing with it, like I've been watching Babylon's Fall for a long time. Um, it was delayed heavily because of COVID, so
Mhm.
that didn't help. But at the same time, that allowed Square Enix to put that arm in there and be like, "Hey, Platinum, how about you find some ways to monetize this shit a little bit more?" And that, I feel like that little bit of extra time, it actually took away from creating a good game and added this bullshit, which
Mhm.
is, it's common. I mean, it's such a big thing with Halo Infinite and how its online rollout went. Except again, Babylon's Fall was a $60 game. It had its first price drop today, and it's $40 on Steam.
Wow,
$40.
$40.
Uh, yeah, if you're into watching horror stories like that, the demo duo in their Discord, it's a pretty fun time. We get on Babylon's Fall topics a good bit. Um, it's, man, it's just something else that a game is failing so spectacularly. Because
You
they
just got to grab your
Square had,
popcorn, you know.
yeah, I mean, Square had the issue with Balan's Wonderworld last year, and they've got Babylon's Fall this year. So they are officially putting out the most infamously bad games of the past 2 years. So they got to fix something.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Well, let's see. What do I have to talk about? What have I even been thinking about? Uh, Darkest Dungeon. Darkest Dungeon is a game that I have loved. The sequel came out in beta. Uh, I want to say about a year ago now. I think it was this time last summer. Uh, it's a lot different than the first game, but you're going to see a lot of familiar characters and mechanics. I think I paid $20 on the Epic Store to get this game. Um, this would be in our What You've Been Playing segment, but I haven't been playing it. I'm interested to get into it because they just came out with this big update, the first like properly big update they've had since they started, and they've had plenty of really good small quality of life updates, probably about every couple months or so since they started, and it's good. I would say if you're not sure if you would like this series, then just wait till the 1.0 rolls out. You know, there's no rush. Um, but it's interesting. This whole thing. I'm going to tell you, what's in the update in a moment. But I really like watching the the real time rollout of a lot of these features because it's in beta. But not only is it in beta, there's also an experimental branch where it's like your public test server kind of thing where people can try out their stuff that they're not sure. Is it broken? We're not sure yet. Come tell us. If it breaks or if you think it will, then give us some feedback. And I'm just fascinated to see that this game is already very fun to play. It's got plenty of problems. There are things that they've already fixed. There are things that they've outlined that they're going to try to address in the future. But I just love to be able to see this transparency of this whole process because to me, that's part of the fun. I don't need your game to be perfect, but if you make me like you as a developer, I have a lot of patience for you. Don't Starve is a similar situation with Clay. Clay Games made Griftlands, which I enjoyed, but I don't know if I think it's actually that good of a game. I think with more quality of life updates, that game could rock, but I don't think they're going to give that game the attention that Don't Starve, for example, has had, which is out for like, I don't know, 7 years now or something. Um, but all the goodwill that I've seen them build up based on their marketing and PR and their patch notes and all of these things just make me want to like them. And so it makes me want to stick around for whatever they're going to do. Darkest Dungeon 2 is again certainly an unfinished product, but there's enough there to play it as if it's a real game. I mean, what's out right now, you could say that this is a full-fledged game for a new studio or a young indie studio. But it's not fully out now. So to see that roll out, our update information is that this is the Shroud of the Deep update. This introduces a new area that's nautical themed, which I was actually surprised that it didn't come out. I think Odysseus even said this. I was surprised that this wasn't out on release because Lovecraft lore is almost entirely based on things coming from the deep ocean. So this will be an update. You've got an area with a bunch of fish people, and they're doing fish people things. You know how they are, and I'm sure they'll be stabbing you and sticking you with harpoons.
Wait. Is that what fish people normally do? That's just a thing.
Oh yeah, everybody knows. Yeah,
everybody. Okay.
Yeah, fish people. Gotcha. Yeah, man. Don't honestly. If you see a fish person, bro, run away. Like,
back
don't.
The fuck up.
Okay. Yeah. People think mermaids are cute. Mermaids are sirens. And actually, I'm making a joke here, but in the first game, one of the first bosses you find is one of the first bosses you find in the nautical area, in the cove, is the siren, and she is some woman who got seduced by this dark magic of the fish people. And she became like kind of this mermaid character that is evil and spooky. She's a siren, so she like lures you in, and there are cool mechanics there where she'll like charm your character and make them fight for her, and all this stuff. But then like when you break the spell, you can see what she really looks like, and she's not this beautiful mermaid character. She's this grotesque fish monstrosity.
Yes.
It's very cool. The art design in the first and second games are very good. And in fact, the second game, if I'm really gushing here, the second game introduced 2.5D models, so they're not fully 3D, but those
are clean.
They're good, man. I mean,
yeah.
I wasn't sure how I felt when they first came out, but I'm totally here for it.
Yeah, I watched Odysseus played on Discord stream, and that is a gorgeous game. I was very surprised with all the updates really that I saw. So
Odysseus says fishes
way more interesting.
Fishes be fishing. Deadpool says you're gonna be hooked. Well, you both got that right.
Some Cabin in the Woods vibes right there.
So this introduces this new area with 7 new enemies. The way the second game works, I'm not gonna completely explain how the game works here because you can find that out on your own. But when you go through an area, you have a bunch of branching paths that you choose between. This is new and totally different from the first game. They're different risk rewards. Sometimes you're going to completely ignore one type of encounter, and in another playthrough, you're going to completely go for that encounter. There are optional bosses that are in layers. So basically a dungeon inside of the area you're in. Totally optional. But there's a new layer boss, and those make for a lot of really interesting fights. If you successfully complete a run in this game, you'll end up going through, I think, 3 areas until you finally get to the mountain, and the mountain is the equivalent of the darkest dungeon in this. So new area, new monsters. Difficulty has been scaled a little bit. The long and the short of it is that the beginning of the game is easier and the end of the game is harder. I think that's great because uh, once you utterly fail your first few times, you quickly understand what the game wants from you, and then it's actually not that hard to get to the final boss. So I'm hoping that ramping up the difficulty like that will make it more satisfying so that when you finally reach that last encounter, it'll really feel good. Whereas before, it kind of felt like, wait a minute, I'm here already? Like, I'm not ready at all. I'm going to die. But I just didn't expect to make it this far, kind of situation. Um, but yeah, there's that. Lots of other new things. Everything that we've played up until now was called Act One, and you can see that there are 5 acts. They just aren't released yet. So this update releases Act Two for the first time, which uh, it's a little murky, which is pun intended. Nautical update. It's a little murky what that is going to bring to the table. Considering this Act One that we've had feels like a kind of complete game, a nearly complete game. Uh, Basically, when you choose this second act, the story-based narrative, um, the enemies that you fight as you progress, they have a higher chance of being buffed with a specific thing that's related to the act that you chose, Act One or Act Two. Like I said, it's murky. It's a little weird how choosing an act works. I don't really know what it means. I'll have to play it to see it out. But you do that, and it's going to change up the story a little bit. But there are new narrative bits. This is the first narrative addition they've had to the game since the beta released about a year ago. So interested in seeing that. But this also tells me if they have 5 acts, and here on the second act they've released a new area, that would tell me that there are probably at least 3 more. I put 2 fingers up as I said 3. There are probably 3 more areas that they're going to announce, which would come to a total of, I think, 8 areas, which is a huge amount of areas because, like I said, it feels like a nearly complete game, and it only has 4 or 5 right now. 4. Um, so yeah, more stuff sounds good. I'm really excited to see what this game is going to be when it comes out. I mean, if it took a year to come out with Act Two, we might not see this game for like 3 more years. But to be honest, that's kind of the state of games now, is that you can play a game like this. It says it's in beta, but it's totally worth playing. It's just that if you want a bug-free experience, well, then maybe don't play it. But if you're if you're someone who likes these kind of games, if you're somebody like me who really likes indie studios like this game is made by Red Hook Studios. Then totally check it out. Yeah, $20 on the Epic Store, and while it's a lot different than the first game, there's a lot to enjoy. I would say this Darkest Dungeon 2 isn't a game that you have to play. Like, you don't have to pick either the first game or the second game. I could totally imagine playing both of these games, the first and second one, and going back and forth because they offer different experiences. But it gets a big old thumbs up for me. That's the Shroud of the Deep update.
Sweet.
Oh, and I realized the whole time, this is why I can't talk and run the show at the same time, because the whole time I had that listed as Babylon's Fall. Vilos, how could you let me make this mistake?
I am dealing with just a laptop screen, trying to see everything on one screen, so shame on everyone else.
Yeah, wow.
My next update here, just wanted to let everybody know that doesn't Pokemon Home gain support for Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, Legends Arceus, and even Pokemon Go. So if you are a Poke fan, go check out the update for Pokemon Home. It's officially the 2.0, I think, which is just so funny. But now, basically, every game, just about every game, has access to Pokemon Home. The only thing that I thought was a little funny was that because I sold Arceus like weeks ago after I played so much of it.
Yeah, you were cooking with gas on that, man.
I played so much, but the save file if you're intending to take all your Pokemon and put it into home eventually, the save files work a little funky. It's easy, but if you don't have the game anymore, all the Pokemon that were already in your boxes will transfer. So if it's in your party, specifically if it's in your party, you'll actually need to have the game loaded up and
But those are the
put
most
the Pokemon
important
specifically in the
ones.
boxes.
You keep your
That
favorite
that
ones
is the
in the
key
party.
thing. That
Oh
is the
no.
key thing. So like when I checked it out, I was like, oh man, like my Sylveon, my Luxray, like all my big boys that I had in my party are not in the boxes. But it's technically an easy fix. It's not like I'm not going to go rebuy Arceus, but I
Wow,
need them
everybody's
to
here except my
officially give us
friends.
DLC first.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool though. Obviously, you're not going to be able to switch Pokemon from this game to that game, but in the future, the upcoming Scarlet and Violet, maybe we'll have more opportunities to bring some of the Arceus Pokemon over or something like that. So I'm really anxious to see how that goes. But Pokemon Home is really cool. It's got a really good subscription system. I think it's like $5 will get you 3 months of Home. I think, and that's a stupid amount of Pokemon that you can drop into the boxes in Home and transfer everywhere. If you just use the free version, I think it's 30 Pokemon that you can transfer into different boxes. It's pretty neat. But yeah, it's there for all the Poke fans and anybody that's still working on the most recent releases.
Well, excellent. Pokemon Go Home. I have that listed as. It's the new Pokemon game that reminds you don't only go outside, or don't. It doesn't just remind you to go outside. It reminds you to stay inside sometimes.
Yo, I'm still waiting on that Pokemon Sleep.
Pokemon Sleep. Yeah, that keeps track of your. Instead of keeping track of your steps, it keeps track of your sleep.
I need to be told when.
It's like, bro, this. You can only catch Gengar if you get 8 hours of sleep for 2 whole weeks. People are like, wow, well that's impossible.
Yeah, it's got to eat your dreams, man. Come on.
Next up, this is itty bitty. There was I actually misunderstood this when I first saw it because I only read the headline like a fool. But Elden Ring is it has a mod on the way, so it's not official. It is a mod, which of course means you can only get this if you're on PC, right? That's the struggle of this. But this brings 4-player co-op, proper co-op, to the table for Elden Ring players. This means that instead of Elden Ring essentially having summoning where you say, hey, Vilos, I know that we've been on Discord for the past 3 hours and we've been playing Elden Ring the whole entire time, but every single time that we defeat a boss, you have to go back to your world, I have to run back to this area, and then I have to resummon you. And then if there's a connection error, because there's always a connection error, then I have to do it all again. Well, we both have to do it all again. That is tough. Elden Ring is a very good game it has the roughest of edges. I mean, you touch one of those edges and you're cut. And one of those edges is the co-op, which is a wonderful thing. The Elden Ring co-op has been one of my favorite gaming experiences of this year. And unless the new God of War can unseat that, it'll be my favorite for 2022. But if you really want to play co-op like me, then there are all these barriers. So this mod says, hey, we got rid of a lot of the limitations of this co-op. First of all, when the game came out, tons of outlets, including Elden Ring's official social media, said that you could play with parties of 4. I checked so many sites, and every single one of them said you can play with a party of 4. What they don't tell you is a party of 4 means 2 allies for a total of 3 friendly players and 1 enemy invader. An enemy invader is not in my party, dude. That's my enemy. Like, how are you going to tell me that the 4th party member is the enemy? Like, when you play, Dead by Daylight, you don't say that Freddy Krueger is on your team, He's not your party member.
Asynchronous Elden Ring.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, what?
So this introduces co-op that is persistent. You don't have to do all this resummoning stuff. Unlike before, you don't have to, or you aren't disallowed from using your mount. So everybody can use their horse, Torrent, at any time. When somebody dies, instead of being sent back to their own world, the Shadow Realm, and waiting for another summon, instead you go into a spectator mode, which is totally unique to this mod. There's no spectator mode by default. And you presumably, the information I've read doesn't make this clear, but you presumably hang out until either they die, your friend dies, or they run back to a bonfire and resummon you, I guess. But this sounds really cool. There are some limitations. They've said that you cannot be invaded by enemy players, which I do think is a very important part of what that game has to offer. So where someone might say, yeah, I didn't want to be invaded anyway, I understand that, but that's kind of the risk reward that the game gives you by allowing you to summon friendly people. Because you can't be invaded, you also cannot, you just can't do PvP with strangers at all, which is a very cool part of that game. Your pals, though, you can enable PvP. You can hit a button, which again normally doesn't exist, but in the mod it does, and you can duel your pals in your world. If it's a fight to the death, I don't know what happens, but it gives you the option of still doing that stuff. But that all sounds cool. I just wish that this wasn't a mod. I wish that this was an official bit from Software. So I'm not complaining. I will probably download this mod and see if I can get some people on board. Simply solving the connection error issues would be reason enough to download this, even without all the other bells and whistles. But this seems cool. This seems a lot of fun. Like I said, that co-op is one of my favorite experiences in gaming from this whole year. I just wish that it worked all the time. So yeah, that's all to it. That's all there is to it. Let me give you the name of this modder, because if I'm going to talk about his work, let's find his name.
Yeah, because it's going to be the name that you hear for a while in Elden Ring.
So his YouTube channel is called Luke U. I'm probably saying that wrong. It's with no space. It is Lukeyue, or sorry, Yui. There you go, kitty. You can go outside. But yeah, he made this mod. It's free, as mods are, and I'm looking forward to at least hearing about it, even if I don't try it out.
Yeah, that I might actually have the game by the time that is up and running. So
man,
forward to it.
I would love to play that co-op with you, man. I would start a brand new player or brand new character and run through all that stuff again. It's such a fun time.
Nice. And I was talking to Cram earlier, and apparently he's ready to go for a new game plus 2 times. I think he said he's completed 3 runs at least. So yeah.
Deadpool's in chat here. Deadpool, what are you on? New game plus 3, and I think Odysseus may be on 1. They tell me things, and I just can't keep track. I feel like if I don't have stuff in writing, and even sometimes when I do, I just cannot keep track of details. But yeah, they've been crushing it, and it was only 3 weeks after the game came out, I tuned into a streamer who was on New Game Plus 7, and I was just like, dude, how is she so good? How has she just crushed this game? And I'm over 100 hours in, and I'm a little over a third through the game, maybe. But yeah, lots of game. There's so much game there to play, and to have somebody with you to explore and laugh and get murdered with is top tier. Deadpool's on New Game Plus 3. Yeah, checks out. Well,
Impressive.
Let's see. Can you believe this? Kitty was in here hanging out, just sleeping. I put her bed in here because she has to be near the people. If she's not near the people, then you're going to hear it. Because when she cries off stream, that's when she either can't find Lizzie, either Lizzie's out of the apartment, or using the bathroom for a second, and Kitty's like, she's dead, she's gone. That's it. But no, she stayed in here the whole time. and then left, didn't even meow at me to get out the door. We're turning over a new leaf here, you know? This is incredible. I just had to say that I see Sovereign talking about Teodalma. We've had lots of cat conversations. I mean, shoot. So Sav is not here. You can't hear her voice right now. But she and Chris both independently got new cats. What, in the past week?
Yeah.
We can change, and man, kittens really never stop being less cute, right? You never see a kitten. Well, you rarely see a kitten where you're not like, damn, it's a cute cat. This is a cat show now. Actually, the truth is, it always was. It was always a cat show.
Yeah, we need at least one episode that's just like ugly cats, just finding photos of the ugliest cats.
Dude, did you see? I found a Facebook group. I sent this to my family. They commented on this dumbass post I shared that's like unphotogenic. It's like the least photogenic birds, and it's very funny. It's just like the worst deleted photos from like aviation photography. And I found a Facebook group called Crap Bird Photography. And
Yes.
the rules are you can only post original photos that you took, and they have to be bad. And they're like, we will determine what bad means, but if you think they're bad and you submit them, it'll probably be fine. And dude, it is funny. Like I've seen pictures, normally in photography, you only see the best versions of a set of photos, right? Why would they ever show you the ones that aren't spectacular and edited and gorgeous? But in this group, it's nothing but the worst photos you've ever seen. Just completely out of focus. One guy today shared a picture from 1993, and like it's common for photographers to like post all their details for like here's the camera I used, here's the lens, here's all of this stuff. And he like as a joke listed all of the information from this camera from 1993, and it's this horribly out of focus picture of a flock of like 1,000 birds. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm loving the non-photogenic. Is that the word?
That'll work.
What's
Yeah.
the opposite of photogenic? Yeah, well, it's that one. I'm loving seeing those because it's like America's Funniest Home Videos. The candid stuff that's like by accident is always the funniest stuff. But anyway, this is not a show about unphotogenic birds and cats. This is a very serious professional podcast. So let's talk about what we've been playing a little bit. Would you like to go first again?
Sure, we can do that. I have been. Oh, well, sorry. I did played through. I will play again, I guess. Trek to Yomi. This game was something we talked about before. Devolver Digital published. Just absolute banger of a game. It's a cinematic samurai masterpiece. Very much a side-scrolling Ghost of Tsushima sort of experience. Relatively short.
Hey,
You can finish
real
it.
talk.
Yeah,
Can you confirm for me because I hear so many people say it either way? How do you say? Is that how you say Tsushima?
Tsushima. Yeah,
Okay, I've heard
yeah.
Tsushima. I've heard not sashimi, but it feels like every time I hear it, I want to say that. Okay, Tsushima. It's
Yes.
like Yakuza. Is it Yakuza or Yakuza? I mean,
Yakuza is correct on that one.
okay, that's
Yeah.
what I thought. But I gotta get it right because then if I'm saying the wrong thing and I'm shouting into a mic, then wow, what am I doing?
That is true. Yeah, because when you're playing Trek to Yomi, like you feel it. Everything feels straight ripped out of Akira Kurosawa movies. It's exactly what you want it to be at all times. I feel like it's very simple in execution. You can't really explore a whole lot, but there are collectibles to find that shine throughout the world. You're literally just moving left to right, or sometimes slightly off direction. It's a map that surprisingly feels more 3D, but it's just because they did so many things to make it filmic. If you've seen my Twitter post on it at all, every single moment in that game is beautiful. It's absolutely breathtaking to watch.
Well, let's get this.
Um,
Let me get this video playing then, so we
yeah.
can watch this. Cause yeah, I mean, the first time you shared this, I mean, this is the kind of art style that once you see what you're looking at, it's cinematic. It's never not cinematic, right? Like it's cinematic at its core. Like there's never a moment where it's just some pixels on a screen
Hmm.
and you're pressing a button to swing a sword. Every moment of it. With games like this, I almost have trouble playing. I would rather watch them because I get so distracted trying to look at all the beautiful stuff in the background. Or even like I'm looking at some cool animation that my character is making, that I end up dying. Right, I end up like failing the game because it's so pretty to look at that I can't even focus.
Yeah, it's got fantastic cutscenes, which is just like par for the course. You expect it to, but it has such smooth animations. It's got a crap ton of particle effects that you see with this fire and stuff here. The shadows, the fact that everything is black and white, and there's so much amazing use of shadows and light. It's mind blowing. As you can see with the transition there's a film transition, and actually, when it changes from cutscene to gameplay, you get a little like the
The
stop cut edit from if the film had kind of just stuttered for a second
Yeah.
when it goes into gameplay mode, and it's just like the little things like that, and it's every time. And since it is such a reactionary combat system, that's the entirety of the gameplay is combat.
Mhm.
Um, that it gives you just such a good feeling, and you're right back into it when that edit comes in. Uh, it's just so very good. I'm sad that it's not on Switch, but after playing through it, it's like the system might actually not be capable of doing it justice smoothly, because it's got a lot of film grain to it, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that just takes that extra processing power, like we've talked about with Control. When I played Control on the cloud, and how the Switch was just like, I can't do this.
Give me a break,
Please
man.
help me. Just by taking off film grain, it can do so much more work. But you occasionally have some like mini bosses, just a couple main bosses really throughout the entirety of the game. It's very much uh, about grief and duty, and your whole point is that there's a potential three endings in the game. Um, you can choose to proceed through the story for love, for duty, and for some reason I'm just blanking on the last one. Fury, I think, is the
Okay.
final choice.
Those
And
are more
so
interesting choices than do I be good or bad, you know?
yeah, and so it's because your lover, and this is not a spoiler. It happens at the start of the game. Your lover is lost
What?
early in the game, so
Well, I don't need to play it
you
anymore.
can yeah you can avenge her and her father, who was your sensei. You can fulfill your duty to your people, your village, because the whole game is basically based on this bad guy Kagero, who is basically just a pirate. He's just pillaging villages. Um, you can fulfill your duty and take him down and save your village by producing the next generation of your samurai people. Um, that's the duty route, and the fury route is just straight up murdering the shit out of Kagero, and then doing what he was doing to basically become him,
Mhm.
and raiding other villages, which is going to be an interesting playthrough because I really want to do that one. But
But how
I
does
did
that?
the
So do you make
duty.
that decision at the beginning? You
there,
did the duty, yes.
there you go, Deadpool. I did the joke for you.
Is that a decision that you make at the beginning of the game?
You actually make it two or three times, which I
Oh.
thought was funny. I'm not 100% sure if it ever changes outside of the final choice when you make it, because it is presented to you multiple times because it's called Trek to Yomi, and Yomi is basically a purgatory ish place. It's not heaven and it's not hell, but it's also not great. So
Is it
it's
a
a
is it a soldier thing or is it an everybody thing?
it can be an everybody thing. That's the issue, is because your lover Aiko is actually there because she has a point to make with you. And in the I think in the love uh, journey, I think part of the journey there is actually helping her through her own part of Yomi. I don't know if there's if that ending actually brings her back at all. I have no idea on that. Uh, but
Like brings her back to
technically,
life?
yeah, because technically, when you get to Yomi in the game, you are effectively dead.
I mean, we've all seen Sovereign Guard, you know, sometimes people come back, kind of.
You are effectively dead when you're in Yomi, though, and that's like a solid half of the game, and then you have to come back to fulfill your ending. It's very intriguing. It felt a lot like Hellblade to me after getting all the way through. It had a lot of the same emotions. It had a lot of the same subject matter as far as the just dealing with grief and how it's going to affect your future. Um, it's not as serious of a game. It's a very serious game, but it's not going to necessarily get you into your feels like Hellblade did. But
Mhm.
it's very effective, and the combat is just so smooth. I didn't play it on its harder difficulties, which I intend to do, especially on the Fury route, because um, I feel like just going ballistic on everything would be great. Because there are occasional finishing moves that you can do um, when you pull off some of your combos. It has an actual combat tree that is just as compelling as a fighting game. There are little encyclopedias of things you find, your journey itself. There's a full diary of stuff to read, and then of course your move sets. Playing through, I think there were three abilities that I did not unlock that I have no idea what they are, because whenever you actually perform them, it's organic. It doesn't tell you to do them and then you do them. You do them and then it's
And then
like,
it
"Oh yeah,
says,
this is how you did
"Oh,
that."
you did." Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite thing in a game when it's like it was always there, like it was available to you. You know, you just suddenly did it. You know, it's a lot more. Uh, it's similar to stories like in anime, like in Dragon Ball Z or something, right? Where it's like the power was always inside you or something, but it's like it's not like you trained and you unlocked and leveled up, which Dragon Ball Z has plenty of. But it's the idea of like you know, just do like figure out your signature move almost. It's like button mashing in a fighting game until you're like, oh, apparently I can do this. It was in this move list of 20 abilities. I discovered it by accident, but now it means something to me, and now I'm going to use it
Hmm.
because you know it's my thing.
Yeah,
Um,
because once I found the right one, I used it on every combat.
yeah.
Like every one of them, it was like four X taps and a Y tap in very quick succession. And like by the time you've input it, the animation just started.
Hmm.
Like it wants you to just get it in there, and like you're doing these side slashes, side slash up, side slash down, side slash like left and right, and then you just do this flurry, and there's a parry system. There's all kinds of really sweet things. Once you have a rhythm down, you have that chance to do finishers, which will give you like I think it's 25% of your health back. Um, and that said,
That's
the
nice.
health system is like the health system is the most forgiving I think I've ever seen, because you get health and you get to save at these lantern spots that you come to, and it's basically at every combat point.
Hmm.
You do your combat point, you get to your next little part of the level, and there's a lantern. Boom. It's really beautiful, and execution. Just everything about it was so good. I cannot recommend Trek to Yomi more. It's so very good, and if you play it on just story mode, like
Which
the
is what
chance
you
of
played it
failure
on.
is very very little. Yeah. I played it on the story mode. The one kicker just to note is that you do not have a new game plus. You cannot play the game one route and then go back in and play the next route ending. You have to play it all the way through for those other routes.
And then your save file melts, and if you try to replay it, it gives all
Probably.
your money to Square or something.
They do need it.
Okay, well, I tell you what, I just typed in Trek to Yomi into Google, and it pops up Trek to Yomi on Steam. It's $20.
It's on Game Pass.
Oh, that's nice. Well, why do you think that this has 6 out of 10 stars? I mean, I've played 3 out of 10.
6 out of 10?
6 out of 10.
On what? On Steam?
On Steam, yeah. And you know how Steam
What?
users be. But
Steam
that's
is being
surprising,
trash
because,
on
like,
that.
what I saw and what you're describing, and then this number, do not.
It may have had the Sifu review bombs.
Oh, I forgot
that.
that.
It might have had that as well because there were some people claiming it. Because it's not a strictly Japanese developer that made it. There were plenty of Japanese people involved in the development, but it was not specifically Japanese made. So it might have review bombs there. Yeah, because otherwise it is not a 6 out of 10 game. Not at all.
Yeah, people have. Man,
It's
people
at least
sure
an
have
8. Are they just saying it's really hard?
strong
Because
opinions. No, it's not. The difficulty doesn't seem to. There are people who don't like the. They just think the combat system is unintuitive, and that people vaguely just say the execution was bad, which is a completely useless review. Why even write that? But there are plenty of people in here, I mean, who say that it's good. And then, of course, you have this positive review that the title to it is not trash.
That's glowing.
And,
Yeah.
and and there's some other stuff in here, but yeah, I mean, everybody seems to like the visuals and all that stuff, but the combat seems to be what people are bouncing off of.
There's like 20 different abilities that you unlock. And like I said, it's organic to unlock, so maybe you're just not tapping right. I don't know.
I mean, stuff like that happens. I mean, but then that would be a credible reason to not like the game, though, because if the game doesn't give you the tool to quickly understand it without being frustrated, then they messed up. From a player perspective, I would, if I'm a developer, I have to assume that every player is so impatient that like, I have a lot of patience for stuff, but then when I hear my friend, I mean, shoot, when I hear Chris play some stuff sometimes, Chris is like, I tried it twice, it didn't work, I'm done. I already uninstalled it. I'm like, what? But then he'll tell me what he did, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, I'm sorry it didn't work. Like, maybe you could have messed with some settings, but you're right that it should have just worked when you did that, and it didn't. So, what are you going to say against it? If you're the developer, well, it should have been foolproof, because a lot of fools. I'm a fool. If I play something, I got plenty of opportunities. I can barely use OBS, This OBS is not foolproof. A lot of the things I use are not foolproof. And you know how I know? Fool.
You fool.
Fool. But that's cool. So that's Trek to Yomi. You played that on Game Pass.
Yep.
That seems right up my alley. Especially, I mean, I don't. It seems like I would like that. I'm not sure if I'll play it, but that and Sifu are both things I'm really interested in. I think I will play Sifu. But I do like this kind of genre that we're seeing. I don't know if there's a resurgence. I don't know if I know enough to call it anything like that, but I've been thinking about older foreign films a lot lately, and there's a whole lot of value in them that you don't see in modern movies and in modern games, because this game looks like a movie. But there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of unique things there, and it's nice to know that, like, a lot of that older, those cinematic stylings and all that will reach a new audience. Because even me, I mean, I saw old, like, samurai movies and kung fu movies and stuff with my dad when I was young. I was born in 91, so I was still, like, I was young when my dad had those on TV, and so anybody who's more than like 5 years younger than me probably has never organically seen anything like this. The closest you'd get is like Neo and stuff, but that's not really
Yeah.
even. It's not really the same. Um, but this is cool. I hope that most people actually like it more than the Steam reviews say. But the game you're
Yeah.
describing sounds good.
Yeah, I need to go to the Steam reviews later and see, but just on Metacritic. So on Metacritic, it's a 71 and it's a 6.3 user score. But then I go down here and one of the user scores says visuals are absolutely breathtaking in the game. Story is very much a revenge tale. Gameplay is solid and learning combos is easy. Definitely has replay value. No reason not to grab this absolute gem. Guess what the score is?
5.
0.
0.
That's a good review, and they gave it a 0. It's like, what are you doing on this website? I don't understand.
Oh my
I
gosh.
what?
You know, I listened to a podcast. What was it? It's called GFB Radio. It's Dave Lang and his host, whose name I forget, but who's also an awesome dude. I don't even know if they're still recording the podcast. I haven't listened in years, but they were a small podcast where it's mostly you listening to Dave Lang, who's uh, a very high up guy now in Iron Galaxy's studio, which has, been involved in a lot of things. But Dave Lang himself is such a hilarious personality. I discovered him through the Giant Bomb ecosystem. And the podcast was mostly them just like, it was like Dave Lang being like, well, I went to Japan for business, and then we went to that one district I can't remember the name of, where everybody just gets completely messed up, and they usually rip you off. Is it called like Roppongi or something? That's the name of something.
Oh, Roppongi is a thing. Yeah,
Is that the district? I don't know.
there's
I don't know very much
Shibuya
about.
and Akihabara and like, yeah.
So he would go there and just tell these hilarious stories of business trips that he'd take there. And anyway, they were such a small podcast that when people would leave them reviews, they'd read them on the air. And for a long time, they're like, "This is amazing. Everybody who's reviewed us has only given us 5 stars." So they keep reading the new 5 star reviews on the show. Well, I went in there and gave them a glowing review. And then at the end of my text review, I said 5 out of 5. But then I marked it a 4 out of 5 when I submitted it.
Son of a bitch.
And so they're like, "What the?" Like I heard on the next episode, they're like, "Somebody didn't give us a 5. They gave us a 4 out of 5. Let's read what this person has to say." And then they're reading all through all of it, not looking to the end, and they're like, "This person has nothing but good things to say." And then at the end, it says 5 out of 5, and they're like, "This fool marked the wrong box." So I was like, okay. So after that, I went and changed my review to the 5. But I was just happy that they read it on the air and all that stuff. But that's like you're saying that was a 0 out of 10, bro. Like for people who only look at the numbers, you are the worst. Like you can't be doing that. My goodness.
Ridiculous.
Um. Okay, so what have I even been playing?
What's your next one?
I've been playing some old stuff, so I'm not gonna rehash everything you guys have already heard. But we've been playing more Rogue Company. Game's fun. Third person shooter, all this stuff. Well, what I do want to tell you about is that the game is leaving beta. It's actually going to hit the 1.0 here in a little bit. Let me make sure that I've got this information right. But they are finally leaving the beta. The game's been out for a while now, and it's had a bunch of new maps. It has added a bunch of new characters. I think there are 24 characters. That's what Sav said the other day. The game is really solid. It's free. It's completely crossplay. The only minor hangup on it is with the crossplay is that people on Switch cannot do the 6v6 mode, but they can still do crossplay with all the other modes. Most importantly, the strikeout mode, which is the thing you really need to play when you play that game, the 4v4.
And it runs relatively well on Switch, but if you get partied up with PC players, hold on to your butts,
Yeah,
because your screen is going to look like absolute trash.
man.
But yeah, it's still fun. But yeah, the differences in systems are gonna take a hit for sure. But we played across 3 systems multiple times. So or 2 systems in PC with our parties. So
Yeah.
it's still very good crossplay. It's some of the best crossplay I've seen.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's a great example of um, an interesting game really embracing accessibility to make it stand out in a fairly crowded genre. For third person shooters, I don't think it's a crowded genre, but it is a shooter, so it's still competing with all the other big names, right? Even, I mean, the other game I would talk about, did I even write anything down here to say about Overwatch? We've been playing a whole bunch of Overwatch and Rogue Company both. Well, same with Don't Starve. Those are all 3 of the games I've been playing. But we've had a lot of fun playing those. So you've got Rogue Company competing with Overwatch, which is big right now, especially in our community because Overwatch 2 is right around the corner, kind of. In June, actually, Blizzard is going to have an event to announce the future of Overwatch 2, like the release date and some other stuff. What does that mean? Who knows? It's a really vague announcement to say, hey, we're basically going to have a Nintendo Direct for Blizzard. But honestly, I think that's great. I think embracing the Nintendo Direct style of announcements is great. Instead of putting it all in one basket, doing their own BlizzCon thing, which I believe is still canceled this year, if I remember. But I'm getting off track here. I didn't really come here to talk about Overwatch, at least not yet. Rogue Company is a third-person shooter that I highly recommend people checking out. I have tried to figure out what makes this game stand apart from other third-person shooters. And the conclusion that I came to for myself is that I've played other third-person shooters like The Last of Us multiplayer. I mean, I've played all of The Last of Us, but the multiplayer is most relevant here. And I've played Gears of War. I think what I don't like about those games is that when you go into cover, you press a button and then your character like slides into the cover and you're basically glued to it. You can move side to side and stuff, and you can peek over, but you don't have a lot of freedom of mobility. You are stuck to that piece of wall or this waist-high bench or whatever you're hiding behind, and there's just not a lot of freedom there. You can shoot or look or hide. That's it.
Same with Uncharted. So
yeah, exactly. And all 3 of those I found worth in there. There can be fun games, but I just never wanted to really go back and play them. But Rogue Company, while it's a third-person shooter, and while you can hide behind walls and waist-high benches or whatever, when you're hiding behind stuff, you just position yourself back there. You don't like glue yourself to the scenery. So you can move. You can really pick and choose the way you move and the angles that you're shooting. It's very easy to switch which shoulder you're looking over. You can look over your right shoulder or your left shoulder, and you do it so fast, and that just makes it feel so freeing to really be able to look around and react fast and see somebody over here and dodge out of the way and run behind a wall and switch shoulders and peek out. But the game's just really solid. So if you're looking for something fresh in the shooter genre, Rogue Company is my biggest recommendation right now. Yeah, we are playing Overwatch and we'd love to have more people and we're enjoying it. But if you want something really fresh, Rogue Company is fresh.
we have some good ass Rogue Company players.
Yeah, we do. Deadpool in chat here picks up the game and just rolls everybody. Just tops the leaderboards over and over and over. And even we had Hot Rod in there. He says, I've never played this game. I think he said that he's never played a third-person shooter. And he was really nervous to get in. Gets in on his first game and just crushes it. Like, he was the bottom of our team, but he was miles ahead of the entire enemy team. And I was like, Hot Rod, you're going to be just fine. It was really a testament to the fact that if you've played other shooters, it doesn't matter if you're familiar with third-person shooters or not. You're going to be able to pick this one up immediately. The recommendation, if you decide you're going to go pick this up for free on whatever platform, it's a hero shooter, so you've got a lot of different people with a lot of abilities and weapons and gadgets. The best piece of advice I can give you that we've been floating around is play a bunch of different heroes first before trying to get good at any one of them, right? If you play in your first 5 games, pick 5 different people and decide, which one you like the most and then choose that one. That's the best way I think to play games like that and Apex Legends and Overwatch, all that stuff. But
Yeah, and
but
they have a good stream of event modes that are very cool and have the effect like Fiesta does on Halo Infinite, where it kind of evens the playing field. So if you get in an event mode, you might actually have a shot at not getting dominated.
yeah. So that's cool, man. Yeah, Rogue Company is great. I mean, I don't have anything really to say here, but we've been playing a bunch of Don't Starve as well, as always. And I've started to look up some wiki stuff, and yeah, I'm glad I did. I'm finally at the point now where I'm comfortable looking at the wikis because I've mostly discovered everything I'm gonna discover on my own. Now the stuff that I'm seeing on the wikis, I'm like, whoa! I was never ever going to discover that on my own. This clearly was something that was designed to be like shared among the community. To be like, yo, if this random enemy is struck by lightning and then you kill it, you get this special item which you can use in this recipe. Like, when was I ever gonna know that? But that's been good, and we've been using mods. Carlos, I know you're around when we're playing in Discord, but I don't know how much you actually watch the Don't Starve stuff. But normally, to share your maps in the game, and we were talking before the show how sharing your map can be dicey because of reasons like the way the game is made. But I just enabled a mod that allows all of your maps to be shared between everyone all the time on a server. So as people discover the world, like as you discover the world, my map will become filled in. So instead of being like, okay, well, take the path and then there's a bunch of trees and you'll see some spiders, go left at the fork, and then you'll eventually run into, a boulder, and then we don't have to do that anymore. We've decided, we've played enough. Let's leave these mods on and make it a little easier on ourselves. So much like Zomboid, which is an okay game with great mods, I think that this game is really going to thrive. It's already, I love this game, but I think finding mods that really work for our community is going to kind of take it up to the next level. So excited for more of that.
For sure. I'll go ahead and put in Sob's thing here real quick if you want to run that video.
Oh, you bet.
New game just came out yesterday, technically, but a lot of people were having issues getting into Ubisoft Connect. Roller Champions. This is very much a roller derby game. It's super kinetic, like very much the vibe of Knockout City, but faster, a little bit more realistic, a whole lot more to the actual gameplay, because it is roller derby. Just the game itself is more complicated than dodgeball. But
I will say
definitely want to see more of it.
I watched Sav play that on Discord with her mic muted. I don't know, for an hour and change last night, maybe longer.
Mm-hmm.
And since I was only like a quarter paying attention, I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, it's hyper competitive.
Yeah, well, the like watching actual roller derby for the first time can be kind of esoteric. And in this, the thing that threw me off was when she would switch directions, just at what looked to me to be at a whim, and then start chasing another objective or another person and stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, my brain tells me that this is a roller rink that you go in a circle, in an oval in.
Yeah.
And there's a right way and there's a wrong way. So that was something I just really noticed as I watched her play. So I barely know anything about it. You're probably going to tell me that I should shut up and listen to what you have to say. But
no, not at this point, because I'm in the same position as you on that, because
great.
I don't fully know roller derby rules. I know a little bit. but at the same time, I do feel like you are supposed to keep going in your laps. But I guess that there's something there, some sort of rule that certain people have to keep going in their laps
Hmm.
in order for you to be able to score or something like that. But yeah, there's basically at least one person always has the shot to be just the person that will go and obliterate the other team in order to get the ball back. And as we could see with Sav's play, if you're good at that, then shit, you
Yeah.
basically you basically just take laps, and you can have like a rally boost. You can get behind somebody and they can pull you ahead of them really quickly. There's a lot of cool moves like that. A stupid amount of control. Like Sav was using mouse and keyboard, and I'm just like, how the hell are you doing this? Because it looks like it would feel better playing on a controller, but the options for control are just there if you're playing keyboard and mouse. But looks like a super cool thing. I think it's going to get really popular. It was
I
being
hope
talked
so.
about quite a bit when people were trying to log in the past 24 hours.
Well, shoot.
Um,
Let's take a
yeah.
moment to appreciate Sav. I sure hope you're still in chat to hear me. That Sav introduced, as far as I'm concerned, the world to um, Knockout City and got a bunch of people in there. She was the first person I ever heard talk about that game, and it seems dope. And I still haven't played it, and I don't have a good reason for that. The first person I ever heard talk about Rogue Company, ever. Like this was a game like when I heard about it, she was like, "Oh yeah, played that months ago." You know, she's like, "Oh, I played it back." There was another game like that where she's like, "Oh, I played it so long ago, I don't even remember it." I'm like, "I thought it was brand new. Like, how'd you get the insider knowledge on this?" But this is another one like that. I mean, you and Sav really like the sports adjacent, like traditional sports adjacent games, and you know, just like Knockout City, and even Ninjala,
Ninjala.
um, this really has. Just as soon as you look at it, you're like, oh, like even though I don't understand the rules, this looks fun. Like this looks fun to me. Just seeing people like zip around and oh shoot, there's a live stream on here. I wish I could play this, but I think that's one step too far. Where I think rebroadcasting a live stream on YouTube is probably something I shouldn't do. Um, but yeah, I mean, it just has this look to it where it just invites you in. The art style, I guess. I don't know. That's such a vague phrase, but the way everything looks just looks very cool. Um, I'm gonna play this trailer again. But I hope this is as successful as it seems like it can be. You know.
Yeah, it gives you the vibes of what is it, the murder ball from Battle Angel Alita.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely has the similar art style to an Overwatch Knockout City vibe, and then you've got the whole announcer thing. It's just like Knockout City, way over the top.
Oh, I love
The
hearing the
actual ball play
crowd.
is cool. It's interesting.
I love hearing the crowd roar when something cool happens. Like that's one of my favorite feedback effects in games like this. I would I was as we were playing Don't Starve yesterday. Sav was streaming this, and I had it on like pretty quiet, and I kept hearing the cheering, and I thought there were people outside.
They're
Like
coming
it was
at you.
quiet enough that I was like, "Is there like 100 people a block away? Like what is this?" But
That's pretty
cool.
great.
So yeah, Saab will be back here next week, hopefully, and we'll get some firsthand experience instead of our speculation and eye goggling uh, at what this game is. But yeah, this is Roller Champions. A nice, easy, clear name to remember. And for once, I'm not saying that ironically.
And again, the way to get this, because it's free to play, is have the Ubisoft Connect uh, app downloaded on PC or whatever. Or I guess you technically don't have to on console and stuff. You should be able to do it from the shop on consoles, but um, specifically for PC users, you have to have the Ubisoft Connect app open. And if you go to games, there's a free section. And if you see Roller Champions there, then you're good to go. If you don't see Roller Champions there, then for some reason, there's a glitch right now that you need to download another free to play game in
What?
order to open up the ability to see roller champions. I have no idea why. I was in the support chats, reading all the forum stuff for a while, and I found that out because it went up yesterday, and a lot of people couldn't get into it. So I was able to by doing that. Give us a yell if you need to get into roller champions.
Lol.
Other than that, another quick one for me. I started up Nino Kuni Crossworlds because Nino Kuni is one of the best JRPG series out there. And Crossworlds is interesting. It's mobile. I don't think it's on any kind of system yet. It hopefully comes to Switch eventually, but I think it's another Genshin Impact sort of situation. Nino Kuni Crossworlds, though, is a somewhat MMO. It's traditional JRPG, known for the Studio Ghibli visuals. Absolutely beautiful game, but very traditional JRPG. This one is like a really wide ranging story. It's kind of a Sword Art Online sort of premise so far, where you start out entering this game like in this hyper Ghibli future,
Hyper Ghibli
and
future.
yeah, it's odd. And you get transported into this game, except for some reason you're not in the game you're supposed to be or something. I think is
Oh
what the
no,
plot is.
you're in the
Yeah.
wrong game, and if you die in the game,
You
Carlos,
die for real.
do you die for real?
Probably.
Ah, classic.
Um, but the cool thing
Nino,
about
kill
this is
me.
that it's the
Just
cool
kidding.
thing about it is that this actually has a co-op mode. And
Oh,
I think it's up to 5 players, maybe up to 6 players, maybe.
all right, Carlos. You
Um,
know how I stand on most of these games. I'm gonna be honest. Single player, I am almost
mhm.
0% interested. There's not a
Oh,
problem with the game. I just know my personal habits. Like I know the games I like and I know the games I don't. As soon as you say co-op, suddenly I'm at like a 70%. Like if I could play this with you, I am suddenly very much more interested in this game.
yeah. Because the cool thing is there's 5 different characters that you can play as in your party. So there's a rogue, there's a witch, and basically 2 warrior types. And I forget what her official name is, but there's a support type which basically runs weapons like a Torbjorn, very similar. So I haven't gotten to see that part yet. I haven't gotten to see that mode in particular because it just launched today. So I just started the single player so far, but hoping to get in there. There are a shit ton of people playing it. Their Discord is just ridiculous. I think they have something like 30 different countries in the
Well,
Discord
I could
that are
barely
represented and
imagine
talking
running
about it.
a Discord for a rollout like that. Like,
Yeah.
bruh.
It's wild because we got like 3 notifications within 20 minutes of the game going live, and it's all like, hey, go into this part, go into this channel if you want to do this, go into this channel if you want to do this, go into this channel if you want to do this, otherwise download the game right here. And it's like, okay,
Whoa.
chill, I'm downloading. Like, just let me go.
Yeah.
um but it does look really cool, as far as the co-op is concerned. Just seeing the video of it, because there's actually quite a bit of video from, I don't remember if it released in China first or released in Japan first. I don't remember, but it's been in other countries for several months. I think middle of last year was when it first released. So there's plenty of stuff to watch on it if you want to. It's just going to be in another language, but
Uh
suffice to say, it'll be interesting to get into. And I'm not a mobile player.
yeah. Well, I mean, you want to be mobile players together or what? Um,
Maybe.
maybe. This is a question I never really say out loud, but do you know why it's called Nino Kuni? Is that like the name of a character or place in the game? Is
It's a
that
very specific phrase, if I remember right. It. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, Odysseus says, what? Don't you all have phones? Oh my goodness. Throwback to the BlizzCon a handful of years ago.
This ain't Diablo.
My goodness. Um, yeah, that's interesting. So that whole thing, I forgot until you mentioned it again. Uh, that everything we watch there is a mobile game. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's still beautiful. It's Nino Kuni like always. I did check the settings when I was going through my phone. Uh, there's a wide range of settings on it. I was very surprised because I have the Pixel 4a,
Hmm.
which is not the greatest processor and stuff, but it was
Boy,
actually
you're
running
telling
on.
me.
Yeah, we got the same deal on that.
Yep.
Um, it
Turns out
was
the Pixel 6, the processor, even though whatever, it's bad. The new one it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Go on.
um, but the 4A was actually running this game at high settings, so
Hmm.
it was great. And there were like 5 different frame rate options. I was like, what the fuck? This is
Really?
a mobile title. Yeah,
Right.
you could run it at like 24, 25, 30. I think 60 was an option. I think 45 was an option. It was some weird frame rate was in there. I'm like, all right. But it was very clean interface wise. Real quick, Sov wants the destroyer class, of course. Uh, not to play, but
Yeah, right.
it looks like it's going to be a really good time. It's something I will play single player just because I haven't gotten into Genshin yet, because that's just asking for too much time. But I
Do you
think
think you will play Genshin?
I've been waiting for it to be on Switch this whole time, so
Wait, I thought it was on. I thought,
it's still not.
man,
It's still not,
dang.
but
Sorry,
it's
man.
still supposedly coming. It's been like a solid 2 years, but Nino Kuni, the only bad thing about it so far, and there's rumors about it, is that it does look like Square is trying to do their bullshit with blockchain, potentially NFT stuff in this game, but we don't know what it is yet fully.
Well, that shouldn't be a
Um,
problem. People love NFTs. Everyone
sure.
agrees.
um, the funny thing is, it sounds like it might just be a player currency in the background sort of thing, which is fine, maybe.
Maybe.
But hopefully it doesn't come out to be anything big. But that's really my only concern about it. Otherwise, it looks like it's going to play just fine. And it wasn't that huge of a game for a phone game.
Uh,
Maybe 3.5 gigs, I think.
Sobs in chat saying, didn't, so there's a question. Didn't the CEO of Square literally say no to all NFTs, or was that just for Final Fantasy
Uh,
14? I did hear something
I
like
don't
that.
remember him saying no.
I heard something
But
that was along those lines, but of course, I compartmentalize everything, so when it's like not a game I'm super interested in, all the details get mixed up, and suddenly yes is no and up is down.
yeah, it's one of those question marks right now. But I have faith that the game is at least good,
All right,
and
well,
that's that.
that's that's Vilos's official review. Game is good, 0 out of 10.
Yes, very
Yeah,
accurate.
make sure you leave that review, like and subscribe. Um, wait, what was it? Where did you see that review? Just so I can get my story straight.
That was a Metacritic review on Trek to
A
Yomi. Yeah.
Metacritic. Okay, well, damn, we gotta. Yeah, that's really something.
Hmm.
Okay, well, I pretty much said everything I played. I mean, the only other thing of Overwatch that I didn't mention before for the last game that I've been playing is that we've all been playing the open queue ranked mode, which a lot of times when we play, I like the ranked mode just because it gives you a chance of like, okay, we're attacking this time and you defend, and then win or lose, you swap places, and now we defend and you attack. In quick play, you only do one of those, and then there's a chance that you just go to a different map with different people now. Um, so I'm like, well, I kind of want to do ranked, but not everybody wants to play like seriously. And you've heard my preaching. I want to play for fun. I like to try, but I'm not bummed if we don't win. I don't need to win. I like it, but I don't need to. So we've been playing the open queue, which is there are two distinct ranked modes, and one of them is you queue up for a role, tank, healer, damage, and you go in and you get into your game, and it doesn't matter if it's with strangers or with friends. Once you queue up for a role, that's the only role you can play. If I am a healer, it doesn't matter how bad my damage dealer is. I can't play my own damage dealer. I just have to ask him to do better, The nice thing about the open queue is anybody can play anything all the time. If you wanted to have 6 tanks, go for it. That means that when you're playing with strangers or friends or a mixture of the two, when you see a gap, you can fill it. You don't have to ask someone else to do something. You can just switch to it if you want. And we've been having a lot of fun doing that because you get real matches. Again, doesn't really matter if you win or lose, but people are at least like trying. They're not just being complete goofballs. And we win or lose. I mean, shoot, one night, Sav and we played. I think it might have been last week after the show. I think after we ended the podcast, the stream, we played Rogue Company and Overwatch, and I think our win rate was like 30%. Like we lost most of our matches, but it was still so much fun. And a night like that is what reminds me of why I like playing shooters specifically with people who do a really good job of keeping their cool. Because like when I lose a game, I don't care. Like there are things I could have done better. There are things probably my teammates could have done better and stuff. But the only thing that goes up or down is sometimes invisible number and stuff. What makes me want to not play a game is when my friend is like calling people trash or like really beating themselves up about like, oh, I could have done better. It's like, okay, that's fine, but I still like you on my team even when you're not doing very well. It's okay, just
I don't know, Tegan. You're being trash right now.
smile and get yourself a gamer chair that leans back really far. That's what people need. They'd be happier gamers if they could play like this, where their face barely fits in the screen. This is the rest of the Twitch show now.
Good.
But yeah, that's been good stuff. So we've had a lot of multiplayer in Discord, and almost every single day, the past couple weeks actually, we've had people playing stuff and streaming all sorts of things. Oh, here's a shout out, because this is normally something I'd say at the end of the show, and we're basically wrapping up the traditional segment for the podcast, the audio version. Our boys have been playing Stellaris in Discord, and they just beat the final boss. They played through an entire game of Stellaris, which I can vouch for takes a very long time. It took them several weeks of playing on Friday nights to reach and then defeat that final boss. But that's been wonderful, and it sounds like I think they're gonna start up a new game and play. I don't know. They're the ones running it, but that's been fun just watching. From a spectator standpoint. Stellaris is a game that I've never played, and I wouldn't have picked up on my own. Yeah, Hot Rod says it's so long. Yeah, you guys probably put like 30 hours into it before you reached the end. But congrats on reaching the end, because I know in games like that, it can be really overwhelming. It's like playing Risk, You got a massive map, a bunch of players, and any change that happens is usually very, very slow. But yeah, that's just another game. And Zomboid. We haven't been streaming Zomboid here from the channel, but that's still going on. So we have just a whole bunch of stuff to play and watch and all that. Of course, that's in the Discord. If you want to watch us only, then stick around for our streams. You can also catch our friends Deadpool and Odysseus in SJ here on Twitch, which you can see them in chat, whether you're watching this live or the VOD. But please go check them out, because if you're somebody who doesn't want to join Discord, I totally understand that. Maybe you don't want to be involved in the conversation. You just want to watch. Then yeah, check them out so you can get the inside scoop on that. But Vilos, do you have anything else before we move on and go get our hands on some floppy nights? That's right. You chose the game, my friend.
My hands are not going to be on floppy nights, but I'll be doing something. with that game.
Oh,
The my only last words. I did want to mention that Special Reserve Games, my number one my number one limited run physical publisher, Special Reserve Games,
mhm.
is doing a pre-order for Card Shark on Switch starting June 2nd. Card Shark we've talked about. I think it was technically I streamed it at some point. I don't remember if it was Discord or here.
I think it's just
Um,
Discord.
but we did play some Card Shark. It was super fun. Very good game. Another Devolver published game. But Card Shark is going to have a Switch version physical copy, and Special Reserve has a version that also is going to come with a deck of cards, specifically
It's cool.
created by the person that kind of helped with the scenario and the tricks of the game.
That's cool.
So there's actually a mark in the deck that helps you do, I guess, all of the tricks that are in the game.
Wow.
So I'm really looking forward to this one. It seems pretty cool.
Dude,
If
what
you're
a
interested in
such a
physical
cool.
games like
Oh
this,
my gosh, that is why
yeah,
I would buy a physical version of a game. That's so
yeah,
novel.
and I don't know if you remember how Card Shark worked, but like it teaches you these tricks throughout the game, and once you have it, you have it. But I can only imagine how cool it'll be to have a very specific card deck of cards, and apparently it's not a memorization thing. Like you don't have to really think about all these things. It's a specific
It's
tricks of the trade
methodical.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just learn how to do that specific thing for each trick and go to town. So I'm really looking forward to getting it. The only bad thing about pre-orders with something like Special Reserve Games is that it's like 7 or 8 months down the road that you're going to get the game. So,
right.
but hey, it
Deal
does
with it.
support these indies. So
Yeah. Like if you're gonna pre-order something, that's the thing I'd rather pre-order.
yeah,
That's cool.
but I'll probably share that to Discord as well. There's a couple cool images of it. I'll probably drop in there. But yeah, that's it for me.
Wonderful. Okay, then I think that's it for the traditional part of the show. For everybody here on Twitch, stick around and we're gonna, like I said, get some hands on some floppy nights. Um, for everybody who's going to be listening to this when it comes out on Monday at home, if you want to find the rest of the show, which will be us watching Carlos play and chatting a little bit, you can find that on YouTube or preferably our Twitch right now.